We should talk about the COVID lab thing too.
We should. Yeah, we should. Hello, Internet.
Hey, Internet.
Just me and Derek today.
Derek and Dale.
Just Dale and Derek. One of the reasons I wanted to just go with you and me.
The Derek
is because
Dale show.
Oh man, right. We haven't lost it. Still got it. One of the reasons I wanted to do just us is because every guest we have, like half of them are musical people and they automatically love the hip. And then a bunch of other people just love the hip because they're hip fans. And I wanted to talk about the Tragically Hip without insulting our guests and just basically every single one of our listeners who also likes the hip problem.
When do you care about insulting our guests? All that shit aside, hey, Internet, welcome to episode 173 of Outrage Factory, the podcast where we look at the things that made people mad online this week and explain why they're dumb for caring. I'm your co-host, Derek Boland.
I'm your other co-host, Dale DeRuiter. I'm drinking out of my brand new Chatterless mug. That's Jamie McDonald, past guest, his band. He released some sweet swag, and it's same with the shirt. It's pink, so I automatically love it.
Longtime friend of the pod. I am, of course, repping the world's greatest internet outrage-related podcasts.
Me too, from
the Joe Rogan Experience.
Also, kidding. If anybody wants to take advantage of our very unique advertising opportunity, which is you place the mug that I drink out of with your logo, just send me a mug. I'm not going to put my address on the internet because two people might smell me. I'm not scared of bombs. I'm more scared of
they might smell
bombs.
You.
Yeah, you might smell
Dale's
me.
concerned about people smelling him.
I was like trying to say send me smelly socks and read the comments at the same time. I don't know why every episode I think I could talk and read at the same time because I always fuck it up.
You can barely read on its own.
So exactly. So if you want me to have your mug and drink out of it, just send me an email at OutrageFactPod or hit me up on Facebook, either the Outrage Facebook or my Facebook or Twitter. If you're the only listener I know for sure who doesn't have Facebook is my older brother, Neil, and Scott Graham, but I don't know if he listens to us anymore.
Probably not.
Because of
because of reasons. Dale.
Yeah, because of reasons.
Would you accept money from the Tragically Hip to promote their band on a mug?
Yeah. I personally have nothing against the Tragically Hip. My whole beef with the Tragically Hip was, okay, let's jump in the Wayback Machine and go to Dale's first instance with the Tragically Hip. So I grew up in a very small town, which was very surprisingly forward with the music that they listened to, I guess, because everybody smoked pot and everybody had older brothers who smoked pot. That was in my grade. So all of our older brothers who smoked pot liked really good music. So I never listened. Yeah, like, because I don't know. I was thinking
Willie
about
Nelson, Bob Marley.
Well, that was my dad. Nobody listened to Bob Marley because nobody liked reggae. It was like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, The Doors to a lesser extent. But I'm not saying the Doors are good music because it's terrible
music.
It's terrible poetry with good guitar, just good guitar, and like bands like that. And then I got exposed to stuff like Nine Inch Nails and Ministry in about grade 9. So once I heard Nine Inch Nails in grade 9, I'm like, this is the only music I want to hear for the rest of my life. And then one of the squares in my grade was talking about this awesome band that he loved that was the Tragically Hip. And I was like, oh man, if he loves it this much, they must fucking tear. Because I was used to everybody at least was listening to Metallica or something. And then I heard the Tragically Hip and I was like, oh, this is like dad music. Like this is your favorite band? And then I was just like, so it's like Tragically Hip has always been like, I don't know how to say it without saying wuss, but they've just been like a wuss version of good music.
So For our international listeners who might not be familiar, because the Tragically Hip, surprisingly, for the level of like notoriety and mainstream success they achieved in Canada, no one outside of Canada has ever fucking heard of them at all. But they are essentially, they're basically Canada's Bruce Springsteen. Like they're a band. They sing to the everyman. They're like working class heroes. That was very much their vibe. Gord Downie, amazing lyricist, like probably like the poet laureate of Canada.
Easily.
Not a great, I don't know. His vocals, like his voice just kind of didn't do it for me.
Canadian music, you had CanCon, where Canadian radio stations have to play at least 30% Canadian bands. So there's a lot of music that is Canadian that kind of got a pass and got bigger than it should have been, just because radio stations needed something to play. Our Lady Peace. That's all I'm going to say about it. Yeah. But I just want to backtrack a bit, and I don't want to say that Tragically Hip sucks or anything. I just want to say, when I heard them at first, they seemed like wuss music compared to the stuff I like. It was like the first, when my sister used to listen to Tom Petty all the time, I was like, this is not cool enough for the Dale. But then like now I love Tom Petty, except for I listened to that fucking song. What was it? Brian Green, William Green in my car. Like on Friday, it was weird. I was like, oh, I'm going to drive home. It's sunny. I'm going to listen to some Tom Petty. And then there's this song, William Green. Have you ever heard it?
I don't believe
it's like the saddest, slowest song. It's like, William Green was my friend.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like, no. This is a downer for sure. And then it's like William Green apparently played football. And you're like, oh, sounds like a cool dude. He stuck up for Tom Petty when somebody wanted to beat him up. And then he killed himself. And you're like, what? You're just going to spring that on me? And the sad song? Like, yeah, so
Tragically Hip
going with this.
Have basically achieved like godlike music status in Canada. They are widely revered by Canadians, but most other people are indifferent to them.
Mm-hmm. It's like Rush.
You will hear Rush at least like achieve some international. Like there's a bunch of like stoners and like prog rock heads in the United States who like love Rush, but Tragically Hip, nothing. Like it, Kate didn't even know who they were. She had never heard of them before. And I think that's like, and meanwhile in Canada, you had them like they did their farewell show because Gord Downie was diagnosed with cancer, passed away. Rest in peace, Gord Downie. But like their farewell tour was like sold out all over the place. Millions of Canadians tuned in to the live broadcast of their last concert ever. You know, everyone can sing like New Orleans is sinking, or that's probably their biggest hit, right?
That's their biggest hard hit, because they're one of those bands that has good hard music and also slow music. Like my favorite Tragically Hip song was, wait, did they do Lovers in a Dangerous Time?
No, that was originally Bruce Coburn.
Okay, I just outed myself as not knowing enough. But Ahead by a Century.
He's another Canadian rock musician.
That one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's a slow falsetto banger.
Courage is another one of theirs. That is probably my favorite Hip song. The entirety of the Day for Night album was like super fucking good because it was very dark and moody. Which is what I felt as a 15-year-old listening to that album. I was like, this speaks to me. But they're just like a very straightforward like rock band. And why the fuck are we talking about this?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Derek, because sadly Gord Downie passed. How long ago was that? Was that 2 years ago?
2 or 3 years?
Time has no meaning. Yeah, time has no meaning. But Tragically Hip is going to get back to the band. Sans Gord Downie is going to get back together for the 50th Juno Awards, but they're going to recruit a different singer. And it is quite possibly the last Canadian singer you'd think of that would mesh well with the band. Did I tell you who it was, Derek?
You did, yes.
I was going to get you to guess because you would never guess it. It's Leslie Feist, which I just learned Leslie was her first name. And that kind of makes her music sound different to me for whatever reason, knowing that she's a Leslie.
Feist is someone who has achieved some level of notoriety outside of Canada, and I think that specifically, she was one of those people who like first rose to fame on Apple, including a song of hers in an ad for like the iPhone or iPod or fucking whatever Apple product they use. But it was
that 1 2 3 4 song, right?
Yeah,
that's the only song of hers I know. Was she in that group Broken Social Scene? Was she one of the like 100 Canadian musicians in that group?
If you're a Canadian musician, you get a free pass to like be part of Broken Social Scene. I believe she was, yes.
Mm-hmm. So my big thing with this is like, why Feist? But upon further research, I found out that Feist actually toured with the band 22 years ago in 1999, which was probably about when that song was popular. And she said that they always got along, so they're going to play. And then I was like, of all the people in Canadian bands around the same era to play with the Tragically Hip, I could come up with like a list who I'd think first.
Lead singer of Trouble Charger.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Lead singer of Gob.
Lead singer of Gob would be amazing.
The guy from Len.
The girl from Len.
Yeah.
I was thinking
hell yeah.
I was thinking Emily Haynes because to maybe hit the higher parts of the Gord Downies. But when I read this, I thought that
Emily
they were
Haynes
going to
of Metric.
Yeah. Who's also in Broken Social Scene. When I read this, I was like, oh, they're going to do like, I thought they were going to do probably because they just released that album of lost songs. Like I think there's 6 of them. I can't remember what it's called. I should, but I don't. So I thought they're going to do a bunch of songs, but I think they're only doing one. So
yeah, at awards shows they traditionally do. They'll like trot the whole band out for like to do one song, and then that's it. So
I guess they could find of the plethora of Tragically Hip songs, I guess they could find one that Feist would sound the most like Gord Downie when he sung.
You don't think this is going to be one of those situations where what fucking band did that? And they replaced their lead singer with, it was a Canadian guy. Replaced their lead singer with, no, it wasn't. Who was it? It was like a hair metal band, I think. Or it was a hair metal guy who was recruited to be the lead singer of the band. It's like tip of my tongue right now. I can't remember who it was. I think it was a Canadian guy who was recruited. Maybe it was even Queen or something. Queen with
Brad May.
Queen with Adam Lambert. That's not what I'm thinking of, but that's an example where they basically like put the original band together and just get a new vocalist and new lead singer, Chris. I think his name was Chris something.
That sounds like, now that you're mentioning it, it is making it sound familiar, and I can't quite put my finger on it. But do you think that maybe if this, like maybe this is just to test the waters? Because I'm not familiar with Feist's career at the moment. I don't know if she's got anything going down.
I mean, she certainly hasn't had a song in an iPod commercial lately, if that's what you're implying.
Yeah. So, do you think this could lead to more? Like if this gets a well received, do you think we're going to see them tour with Feist?
I mean, you look at the past year and a bit for musicians in general, and I'm sure everyone's a little starved for cash right now. So you have to think that like, if the opportunity presents itself and it's well received and anyone gets a whiff that like, oh, people would pay money for tickets to see this, then I absolutely think it's in the cards that they do a cross Canada tour, because no one outside of Canada again knows who the fuck either. Maybe this is the Tragically Hip's chance to achieve some level of notoriety in the United States by touring with Feist as the lead singer, and people in America know Feist, and they don't know. And then maybe they're like, oh, let me go check out the old back catalog. And then Tragically Hip finally blows up and Gord Downie's estate makes millions of dollars, which would be a perfectly just thing to happen.
Yeah. I looked up that album of the lost songs just because it was bugging me. It's called Saskadelphia, which I gotta respect that Canadiana Americana pun. But Who sang Philadelphia for the movie Philadelphia?
Bruce Springsteen, baby.
Could you
Streets
imagine
of Philadelphia
if they sang the streets of Saskadelphia and in the style of him? That would be amazing. One thing that we haven't breached on is like, is everybody going to be okay with this? Like, you personally, I don't know, we're not really the biggest Tragically Hip fans, like I spent 20 minutes saying, but I'm okay with it. I don't think it disrespects Gord Downey's memories, but I was like, this could be one of those things where it's like, is it too soon after his passing? Does it look like a money grab, or is it like more of a celebratory thing? What do you think, Derek?
When did Gord Downey die, Google?
I mean, it's also that it's the
October 17th, 2017.
Shut up. It was almost 4 years ago.
4 years ago, basically.
No way.
Yeah,
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
I
thought it was like 2 tops.
I don't think the Hip, because again, even like you have the Hip, which are revered within Canada, and then you have Gord Downey, who's revered within the Hip. I don't think they would have released anything or done anything without at least like getting Gord Downey's family's sign off on it or approval, or like some sort of like tacit approval from someone affiliated with the estate of Gord Downey. So I'm sure this is all on the up and up.
Also, like, I wonder who holds the copyright to the Hip's material. Like, if it was like, that's always a weird thing to get into, like when someone's post-mortem, to like who legally owns like the material, like if it's Gord Downey's family, or if the band was viewed as a corporation and each member had a share or whatever. But yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I was going to say that if it did sting some people, I feel like the fact that it's the 50th anniversary of the Junos will make it sting a little less, because I think it's like they have like the Tragically Hip has 15 Junos, I believe, which I don't know if that's the most decorated.
That's got to be
Canadian
the most by a Canadian band ever.
Again,
the Junos are Canada's version of the Grammys, and they're not really important.
But do you know who else is playing? Who could possibly overshadow all of this and nobody will even notice?
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber, baby. I think he's going to play Peaches, which is like, fuck. Nobody's going to even remember. They're going to be like, Tragically who? Let's just sing Peaches to ourselves again.
Justin Bieber, noted Canadian artist, will sing Peaches, in which he lists locations based in the United States in the lyrics. Good for him.
I bet he changes them to Canadian places. Did you know that Justin Bieber just broke a record held by Elvis Presley with his latest album? He is the youngest musician to have 8 albums reach the top 200 on Billboard charts. Justin Bieber's only 27, and he's released 8 albums.
And they've all charted, right? Like
they all charted pretty much. In case you're wondering, Elvis Presley was 29. So, I mean, is Bieber the 21st century Elvis Presley of Canada?
I think of the world, potentially, until or is
he the Michael Jackson? Do you think he's like getting like Michael Jackson fame?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think Elvis had Michael Jackson fame.
Yeah, I don't know, because Elvis was the first ever like super duper popular person. I don't know what the scientific name for it. Like, he was the first like rock star where like people screamed, and then it was the Beatles, and then a whole bunch of people I don't know, and then Michael Jackson. Because I'm sure there was people just as famous.
And then a bunch more people you didn't know, and then Justin Bieber. Yeah.
That's how it works. And Tragically Hip, to a lesser extent, was in there somewhere.
Oh, only in Canada. Only in Canada. Predominantly in Saskatchewan.
Yeah. In Saskadelphia, to be precise.
Hey, speaking of things that were grown locally, I don't know. New news is not really... Okay, there's no news. And it's not really emerging. But there's been this shift. So COVID-19, I don't know if anyone knew about this, but there's been this fucking pandemic going on for the past couple of years. year and a half.
Yeah, it feels like decades at this point.
It does. Like, fuck it. It basically shut the entire world down in, rolling blackouts for the majority of the last year and a half. At first, I remember the first few months of COVID, and the widespread theory was basically that a man had walked into a wet market in Wuhan, China, and bit the head off of a bat, Ozzy Osbourne style, and sprayed blood all over everyone in attendance. And I'm paraphrasing.
Okay, because I thought there's a pangolin. Like, I thought it was like a threesome, and there's a pangolin in the middle.
Yeah.
So was that the theory right after the head biting bat?
Yeah. So there was the head biting, and then there was a human, a pangolin, and a bat all bit each other at the exact same time.
A human, a pangolin, and a bat COVID. Walk into a bar, and we got COVID.
And at the time, a lot of like really weird fringe conspiracy theorists were talking about how, okay.
I'm not fringe.
Yeah.
I was just repeating
conspiracy theories.
Those are all repeats. I didn't come up with those. I just like listen to dumb conspiracy theories, and then I lead it off when I'm like, hey, do you want to hear a dumb conspiracy that I do not believe at all, but I think is interesting? Like, what if it was true? It's like when you like say something crazy to someone, you're like, I'm not into this, but
what if the Earth was
get peed on? I mean, I don't.
What if you could?
Unless you do.
Wait, what?
Like that
off
thing.
Of the edge of the flat Earth.
Yeah.
But at the time, there were some.
I was gonna say bringing up fetishes is like got to be the exact same as bringing up conspiracy theories. Like, you're on a date and you're like, "Hey, you into golden showers?" Or it's like,
just testing.
Hey, do you think lizard people are real?
Yeah. Hey, what do you think
like
of this cute guy?
Would you let David Icke pee on you?
But fucking, because there's the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which exists in the city where COVID was first identified. So at the beginning of COVID, there was a fringe element basically being like, holy shit, this thing was grown in a lab and intentionally released by the Chinese government. And it was like widely regarded as batshit insane disinformation at the time. But now, due to, I guess, pressure from the US government, but people are basically walking back that it's potentially not disinformation. They're looking at the evidence and saying there is the potential for COVID-19 to have escaped from the Institute of Virology. Due to the mounting evidence that shows that they can't basically the World Health Organization
words.
I'm good at words. Look at me. Sent a fucking team of people to investigate in Wuhan for a couple months, and they could find no clear source.
Wait. There has to be an asterisk by that, because they had Chinese government chaperones the entire time they were there. So while under the watchful eye of the Chinese government, they could not find any direct evidence of
that.
Yeah. So this has got like, so nobody's saying, like, one of the rare conspiracy or fringe conspiracies Derek was saying was people were like, this isn't a bioweapon. Like, that's the like fear mongering. People were saying that the Chinese government was making a bioweapon that they'd release on their own people first, which seems backwards, and then infect the rest of the world so that they could jumpstart their own or get their own economy to jump past like the US's. But this theory is like kind of saying that it was because this viral lab does stuff like work on
specifically coronaviruses.
Yeah, and it's like a level 4, which there's like a couple of them around the world where they work on the world's most dangerous viruses just to like understand them better, and I don't know, like poke them with science and see what's up. So they're saying now that
science stuff.
Yeah, they fucking hit it with some science, see what happens, write it down on a book. And then I guess they're saying that it escaped by accident, because one of the reasons they're saying this was in mid-November, there were 3 scientists who worked at that lab who had to go to the hospital for like drastic sickness, but it was like all like symptoms of COVID that they weren't said. The Chinese government said it wasn't COVID. And then one of the weird things about this is Facebook just announced that they're going to stop banning posts that say that COVID was man-made, because up until this point, like, I guess they just got sick of all these dumb bullshit fringe conspiracy theories. So it was like anytime you posted a post on Facebook saying that the COVID was man-made, they would just immediately take it off. And now apparently they're going to let those fly. So if you were sick of COVID conspiracy theories before, get ready for the fucking tidal wave, because you have had a big like guardian wall protecting you from those on Facebook.
Yeah. Thanks, Zuckerberg. You know, I think number one, there are still going to be people who use this to push the idea that it's a bioweapon. As a bioweapon, it's a pretty fucking shitty one. If it's, you know, if like 90% of the people turn up asymptomatic and it only kills old people, it's predominantly kills old people.
I mean, if you are a nursing home, like nurse.
Good one, Dale.
Like if you're a nursing home worker and you're sick, like instead of turning it, like that's the bioweapon for you. Because you know how every once in a while there's like a nursing home nurse who just goes nuts and starts killing old people.
Like starts smothering them with pillows in there. Yeah.
This would be like the bioweapon that one of them made. Like
100%.
There's no way to direct this.
Or if China's planning for a future where the retirement homes of the world all band together and somehow like unify and gain access to weapons, this would be the virus that they would release to take them down.
Or like if they're like, we don't want to keep your pension funds anymore, we want to spend them all on weapon research, so they just wipe out all the old people so they don't have to pay them pensions.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we should stop finding reasons to make this soluble. Fuck. I'm just gonna quit trying to use more than 2-syllable words from now on.
That's probably a good plan. The second thing is that they're not gonna fucking find out how this virus came to be. No. Like it's just like we're way beyond that. You know, the market has basically been like sanitized, reopened. They're trying to like track cases and find symptoms that show up, and apparently there's been some clusters that might actually predate even October and November in different countries. So there's been like they're looking at respiratory, apparently there was like an outbreak of respiratory illness in Italy in like September. They're saying this could be related, might not. They didn't know they were testing for COVID at the time. We're not going to know where COVID came from.
Yeah. And also, like, even if the World Health Organization or someone who you can actually trust, who isn't in China's pocket, sends in a team, it's not like the Chinese government's going to be like, now you could talk to all our lead scientists and they'll share all of their knowledge with you.
Yeah. They're not notoriously
forthcoming.
About anything, particularly. And the U.S. is going to continue beating the war drums, trying to pin this on China because, of course, China is the biggest threat to their global dominance. And, you know, this is basically just leading to a showdown between the U.S. and China, which will almost definitely happen within our lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it just seems like, for a while there, it seemed like we were going to get some sort of like, not like a world war, because I don't think they would even have like an out and out open world war. It would be like it would be like the Spanish Civil War, where there'd be like some other country having a civil war and all the majors would pick a side and kind of fight each other on
like
someone
the US
else's country
is gonna like give billions of dollars in military aid to Taiwan and be like, yo, Taiwan, like this is how you're gonna achieve your independence from China, go fucking ham.
Or all they're gonna do is get John Cena to be like, Taiwan is a country,
and then Nice segue, by the way. And then what? So he did that, and then apologized to China for it because China is a very lucrative market for Western film studios, and they basically made John Cena, grab his dick and balls and apologize to the Chinese government.
Yeah, John Cena was making Fast and the Furious 9, which would that be was Hobbs and Shaw 8, or was there, I don't know. How many Fast and Furious movies have you watched, Derek?
Oh, fuck. 0? 1, maybe.
Okay.
Potentially the first one.
I watched 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think I watched 4. So the first one, and then the second one didn't have Vin Diesel, and then the third one was Tokyo Drift, and then I think I watched the fourth one, and then I went back for Hobbs and Shaw. So anyways, this one has John Cena in it, and I think he was like even filming in China. But the thing is, like, China has over 1 billion people, so their movie market is 3 times the size of the US, and they love Western action, whereas it's like everybody in America has got to be getting sick of Fast and the Furious by now, whereas in China, they're all like, yeah, give it to me. We want more. And it's just like the NBA thing where it's like, was it LeBron who was like, we back Beijing or whatever, and then had to apologize to China because they were like, yo, you're not going to make nearly as much money because we're trying to sell all these Chinese people basketball and basketball shoes.
Well, it was during the Hong Kong
what did I say, Beijing?
Protest. You said Beijing, which is the other side. Beijing is,
that's like the legit capital of China, isn't it?
Yeah. So if LeBron had said we back Beijing, which he ultimately, I think, did say, because
I think he's like,
but
everybody was like, fuck Hong Kong, and then China was like,
everyone's in fucking arms over these people having to apologize and kiss China's ass.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what, fuckheads? That's part of capitalism. This is the system you chose. And if you want to have corporations in charge, corporations don't care about human rights violations. They care about making money. And there are a lot of people in China to sell shit to. So fucking suck it up. And like, sorry, if you don't want corporations to be calling the shots anymore, maybe we start putting power back in the people instead of our corporate overlords.
Yeah, like, I mean, especially movies. Like, basically, all you have to do as movie is just like bend the knee to every single person and be like, you like me, I'm a good person. That's pretty much like this podcast has made its bread and butter on all of these actors just being like, oh, I fucked up and now people aren't going to like me. And Hollywood being like, yeah, you better fucking apologize to us and like kiss the rings. Otherwise, you aren't going to be famous and make a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to look up this article specifically and see if there's anything we missed. Were you done talking about the COVID thing? I just kind of wanted to throw in.
I like the Cena thing. Yeah, because there is going to be nothing that comes out of it. Everyone's going to just be speculating for the rest of our lives. But there is a very hawkish contingent in the United States who will continue to hammer home that and watch who it is. It's going to be politicians in America who stand to make money if the US goes to war against China, or who benefit from the United States being locked in, because it's been a while since the Cold War. It feels like everyone's just basically moved on past that. Well, no, that's not necessarily true, but being past that, all Muslims are terrorists and we hate them. That whole thing, I think that conflict was cooling off a little bit. So here comes China, and they are now the enemy. And let's keep our eye on that.
It's like what, Cold War fucking part 3. Like we've done like they've done Russia Cold War twice, and then they did pretty much. It was like the second Cold War was like USA, like Derek said, against every Muslim-run country, and now we're on China for a while. But I was just looking up what Cena had said, and he was doing a promotional interview for the movie, and then he referred to Taiwan as a country, and Beijing is like China's I guess, official stance on it is that Taiwan is a breakaway province. But here, wait, let me see. Anyways, yeah. So he did an apology video in Mandarin. I didn't even know John Cena could speak Mandarin.
What a guy.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. So I was looking, just wanted to make sure there was no like facts or anything I missed in that article, and there isn't any. So
are we concerned about missing facts now?
That's all you get.
This is an opinion podcast, not a news podcast.
I mean,
everything we say is for entertainment purposes only.
Do you think if we told everybody, like if we told China that we love and respect it, that we'd get more Chinese viewers?
I do love China.
I know you love China.
Like I love the country of China. I love the food, the people. I love the culture. But they are,
I love every piece of technology they've made for us for the last 20 years or so. Yeah, they are. Their humanitarian efforts are a little suspect.
I just realized that I am probably planning on traveling back there at some point in the next few years. So I'm just gonna say, China is good. Beijing, I stand with you. And yeah, let's move on.
Okay, so for the official stance of Outrage Factory is that Taiwan is a self-ruled democratic island to be a breakaway province and claims it is still a part of China. That's
yeah.
Wait, that was sorry. That's what I get for reading out loud. That was what Beijing considers Taiwan. I was just gonna say, yeah. So
yeah, part of China,
Beijing,
but like a part of China that China allows in their great wisdom to be democratically run, much like Hong Kong.
Yeah,
China has
Hong Kong no more.
China has given them the immense blessing of being able.
Yeah. To Xi Jinping, in his infinite wisdom, who doesn't look like Winnie the Pooh, has given them their own little democracy to play with for a bit. Good. Do you think we sold it? Do you think they believed us?
Yeah.
We don't think the COVID started in the Wuhan lab on purpose or by accident.
No, I think it's much like the Spanish flu, which was named the Spanish flu, even though it originated in the United States. This too probably originated in the United States.
No. We can't say that, Derek. China.
Shit, I want to go to the United States too.
Let's say it wasn't. Okay, I don't think we have any Brazilian listeners, so I don't think it was a Brazilian variant. I think COVID started in Brazil. So there.
Also, nobody really likes Russia right now.
Yeah, especially that whole Belarus thing. But yeah, if we knew anything about that to talk about it, that would have been a great segue.
It would have.
But I have no idea what's going on in Belarus. I know European countries aren't flying over it because someone got shot down and then Putin got mad and is giving Belarus a bunch of money. Is Belarus even a part of Russia?
It is a former, it's one of the countries that got like split up when they did the whole USSR thing.
I don't even know about that. That's how faulty my Eastern European geopolitical knowledge is.
I mean, yeah, it's basically Russia.
Like you could say any country used to be a part of Russia up until like anything like I'm looking at a map, anything west of Germany. Is that right? No, east of Germany, you could say was a part of Russia. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And because I wouldn't know.
I mean, it basically was for a very long time.
Is that right?
So,
Jesus.
Your geopolitical knowledge of Europe stops at 1989.
Am I accidentally smart?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it.
Say that.
I just don't.
We can say that.
Yeah, I'll just pretend.
Dale was 10 years old when he stopped learning things.
Yeah,
that's what we
specifically the last time I looked at a map. Now I'm all bonered up for ancient knowledge now. There's no conspiracy theory in recently recorded history because there's like books and stuff still. So you got to go way back before like the Library of Alexandria was burnt, and then you could cook up some real conspiracy theories.
Like
That's where I'm at.
Chariots of the Gods type shit.
Yeah. That kind of shit.
You know, read it if you haven't.
Like literal interpretations of the Bible. Which I'm listening to. Did I mention that on this podcast? I'm listening to the audiobook of the Bible, which is 73 hours long.
I know that you'd mentioned it in private conversations with me, and I'm still confused as to why you would do that.
Well, as I told you, I don't want to get too into it because we'll lose our 8 listeners. But there's this author named Zachariah Stitchin, and he literally interpreted the Bible, but he didn't turn into a bigot like the Southern Baptists. He turned into there's aliens and shit in there. And I was like, holy shit, I got to listen to this. I got to listen to the Bible and just like pick up all the weird shit. There's a bunch of weird shit. I wouldn't necessarily go aliens or stuff, but there's times when God's like says we instead of I, and you're like, wait, who's he talking to? And then there's one time
his wife, God misses God.
Yeah. And then there's times when it's like when Cain left the Garden of Eden, there was already people on the earth. And you're like, wait, I thought he was like the third person. And then there's one time when God was like referenced as 3 different people, but this is before the Holy Trinity because it's the Old Testament. I don't know. It's just like, it's so like, and then, so there's like a little bit of cool stuff in there, but then there's so much boring shit. Like I just posted a tweet because I just finished Exodus, and like half of Exodus is explaining how to build some like church tent. Like it's talking about the colors they want woven into the fabric, how many fucking cubits long they want it, how wide they want it. And it's like, it's a serious fucking like an hour-long conversation to be like, and then the poles go into these holes, and the pole holders will be pounded flat bronze and have like a shekel of silver. And that's like talks about how everybody over 20 has to give shekels to the church. I don't know. It's like,
it was literally just a some like engineering plan they found to like build a tent, and they were like, oh, this belongs in the Bible. This is a sacred manuscript.
And the worst part is this is when Moses was in the desert. Like if you know your Bible, like Moses was in the desert with these people, and he goes up Mount Sinai to talk to God, and he gets the 10 commandments, and then he comes down and the people had built this big gold calf. So he smashes the fucking commandments, and then he like they like melts the fucking calf and turns it into powder and then throws it in this water. And then he makes everybody drink the gold powdered water and be like, this is what you get. And then he's like, you guys are all fucking evil now because you sinned. So to be good in the eyes of God, you all have to like fucking kill your brother and your cousin. And then 3,000 people get killed. And then he's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to go get those 10 commandments that I smashed like a dickhead when I was mad. I'm going to go get another set. So nobody fucking build another calf. And then he comes down and he's like, these are the 10 commandments. And then it just talks about building this fucking tabernacle for like an hour straight. And I'm like, how did people build this into a religion?
Why are you listening to this? Anyway, join us next week on Bible Factory, where Dale will get in depth.
I'm right at the fucking blueprints to make a bigot. I just started the book of Leviticus that has all those rules that like the Southern Baptists like tells you that you're supposed to hate homosexuals and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Isn't that where we get to demean and objectify women as well? Isn't that Leviticus? Or is that somewhere
and you're
else?
not like, if a girl's on her period, you're not supposed to look at her. And fellas out there, you want some male privilege? If a guy has sex with an animal, he just gets kicked out of the tribe. But if a girl has sex with an animal, they kill her. Yeah, it's coming up man's world, baby.
I mean, I don't know how to segue from that. So.
Well, I said we were going to talk about airplanes, so we have to talk about airplanes.
I had a fucking baller of a segue lined up 20 minutes ago.
Okay, wait. Let's just pretend.
On your biblical tangent.
Okay. Let's just forget all that Bible shit I said, because I'm probably going to hell because it's probably real with my luck. Like, knowing me, it's like Old Testament God who's like the vindictive prick God, not like the I'm everywhere, I'm a being of energy New Testament God. So it's probably the one that like fucking tells people to kill their own sons and stuff. And then I'm going to hell. So what we'll do is we'll back up. I'm not going to edit that all out because that seems like a lot of work.
It does. And it was probably unintentionally the most entertaining part of this podcast. So please leave it.
Yeah, there's two people who are like, like Janessa's like, I kind of want to listen to it. And you know what, Janessa? It's a hard fucking book to get through. I mean, Genesis is dope. There's like a flood.
He's back on the Bible.
Giants.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's back on the Bible.
There's a whole there's like 2 cities and they're full of homosexuals and they want to have sex with everybody and they just do drugs and party. Like, where was that Bible lesson when I was a kid?
I remember the Book of Revelations was like the real, like the end of days shit where it was like,
that's the last book. So they save it for the end. They're like, yeah, we're going to put the book with the dragon and Jesus coming back and like, oh no, wait, Jesus doesn't ride the dragon. Who does? Oh, the whore of Babylon. Like, fuck yeah, you want me to pay attention to a character? Call her the whore of Babylon, put her on the back of a like 9-headed dragon, and I'm fucking in. I don't care if she's the bad girl. I'm cheering for her. Let's see some fucking destruction. Brittany,
can I segue now?
The type of drugs they did were the good ones that we don't know about because they blew up the town.
Yes.
Oh, side note. Sorry.
They were too busy telling us how to build a tent. And not busy enough telling us what drugs they did. What's your side note?
Last side note about the Bible. Then I'll stop talking about the Bible till I think of something else. But the guy who I was talking about, Zachariah Stitchin, who the reason why I got down this whole fucking rabbit hole was he was saying that the way the angels smited Sodom and Gomorrah was they dropped a fucking nuke on them because it was aliens and not angels.
Alien technology.
Mm-hmm. Talking that much about the Bible made me tired. I should have paced myself, but I got a little into it. Sorry. If anybody wants me to talk more about the Bible, I would love to because there are enough fucking plot holes that I could make a whole side podcast.
Again, Bible Factory needs to be a thing.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Oh, I would start that podcast and just call it Bible Factory just for every like person who actually likes the Bible to start listening to it and then get offended. It would be like the best troll ever. It would be like what I did on IRC when I was 16. Okay, you can do your segue.
Well, I was gonna say, hey, speaking of fuck.
Things that aren't in the Bible.
No,
airplanes.
We were talking about the airplanes over Belarus.
Oh yeah.
And you said something about
how did I even get into the Bible shit?
I know, Dale. Don't question how your mind works. Hey, speaking of fucking something on airplanes, I don't even know.
Hey, how about this? Speaking of no-fly zones and what is in those no-fly zones,
not being allowed
should be in those,
not permitted in airspace. I don't fucking know. Hey, Southwest and American Airlines have both announced this week that they will be continuing to not serve alcohol to economy passengers on flights in lieu of a couple of high-profile fucking.
I thought fucking people would just be happy enough that they get to fly again after COVID. Like, this is my favorite thing, how everybody got touched such a hard lesson from COVID that we're all going to be civil human beings now. And then it's like every chance someone gets, they're like, oh, guess what? I'm a dickhead because I'm still a person.
Well, it's also
and people
like,
are trash.
So there were already like, little hints that like we collectively have a very severe and serious mental health crisis in regards to how people perceive themselves and how they treat other humans. And that was happening like way before COVID. And now we've gotten to the point where I think COVID definitely just like punched holes in everyone's brains. And there were a couple instances over the past week where A flight attendant was like severely assaulted. A woman passenger who was being unruly on the flight and refusing to like put up her tray table or not recline her seat. Basically punched a flight attendant. I don't even think it was mask related. I think it was all this other shit.
Damn.
Punched a flight attendant in the mouth and knocked out, or punched her in the face and knocked out 2 of her teeth and broke her like orbital socket or something.
That is rough. She's going to get like, could you imagine going to jail over your tray and seat leaning? Like it's that big of your hill to die on. You're like, you know what? I'm going to fucking jail for years.
Just the thing. Like we have like, there is a mental health crisis where like people believe that this shit is worth going to jail for. Ditto for like the fucking mask thing. Like anyone who thinks that it is worth it to assault another human being because they're asking you to wear a mask, like it's not fucking normal behavior. And a lot of people are making it like a partisan thing and being like, well, that's just fucking anti-maskers and Republicans are all violent shitheads. No, they're not. They're human beings who are suffering from a fucking year and a half of this bullshit, never mind whatever else has been pumped into their brains. And as a result, I think we're going to see more and more of these things happening. And of course, we know that violence, you know, if there's anything alcohol is really good at, it's making people good at sex. And the second thing is making them good at violence. So
ask those Canadians fans about the violence.
Yeah,
part.
exactly. And I'm just like, I'm surprised that alcohol, like looking back at like the rich history of air rage related incidents, and they're all fucking alcohol related. Like the guy who took a shit on a serving cart, that was out, like he was drunk. And you have to look at that and be like, why are they still serving alcohol on planes when it's like you get somebody, you put them in,
especially to the poors in the back who just can't fucking handle themselves.
Well, that's why it's now they said they're suspending it for economy passengers. First class and business class will still be able to drink.
Because rich people know how to handle themselves. That's why they became rich, because they're better people than us.
Well, true.
You don't just get money unless you're a good person. That's how also that, capitalism works.
That first class and business class, it's like, oh, this isn't like the world's worst fucking situation. Like if you're traveling in first class or business class, like, yeah, it sucks, but it doesn't suck so bad that you're already like super fucking angry about it. Because you have, you know, personal space and the opportunity to be a little bit comfortable. Whereas in economy with the poors, they're basically just like stacking bodies on top of each other. And then they're like, here, have a bunch of booze and see how that works out for you. After you stood in line inexplicably for 40 minutes to get on this fucking plane. And then now you're like crammed in with 12 other people in your row. Have some booze, go nuts. So
I love how it's like, they're like, okay, we'll give them booze. 50% chance they fall asleep, 50% chance they rip each other to shreds. I'm a fucking betting man. Let's flip a coin. On one hand, though, as tragic as all this is, it's kind of like it gives me new hope, because there's all these conspiracy theories like, oh, the government's trying to control us through COVID. Oh my God, they just do all this stuff so that we like listen to them and then we turn into sheeple. And then it's like, or not, or just people go fucking nuts. And then if COVID was like, just bear with me a sec. Like if the conspiracy theory is true and COVID was this thing where they're like, we're going to control people by scaring the fuck out of them and then they'll do whatever they want. Right now, they're backing out. They're like, okay, this plan doesn't work. We can't do this. We can't control humans this way anymore. They just go fucking nuts. So
they were like, oh, this actually gave us less control over people instead of more, because now we have this whole like segment of the population that is so fucking insane about not being controlled that they're assaulting each other. That whole experiment didn't work. Let's walk it back. Maybe we'll just use something like advertising or mass media to control people like the good old days.
Yeah, it's like in 1 year they fucking lost all of the ground that they made since the 70s when everybody had like lead poisoning from the gasoline and just got crazy. Then they spent 50 years just mellowing everybody out, making them do what they want, be like through advertising, changing the diet, GMO the foods, and then they do one virus and everybody's just fucking batshit crazy again. And now they're like, fuck, now we got to start over.
All bets are off.
Maybe that's the great reset, is they're just like, fuck, we had these monkeys under control. Somebody opened the cage and now we got to get them back in.
Yeah. Time to go back to just putting fucking whatever in our drinking water. Like, I don't know. Sedate us again,
yeah,
please.
Like, can we put Valium in the drinking water? Is that allowed still? Because the fluoride's not making them listen to us at all anymore.
It is not. So yeah, it's good to see that flying is going to be just as shitty, or potentially. Am I laggy as hell right?
You've been laggy for a while, but it's weird. It's a weird lag because it's like there's like a half-second pause, but then the sound kind of catches up. I don't know if it like does a weird compression thing, but it's like, because it's like you lag, but then you're still real time, so it's not like a universal lag across the board. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, as long as you can still hear the beautiful words that are coming out of my mouth, that's
don't worry, Derek. I guarantee you sound no dumber than you do without the lag.
Yeah, all right.
Victory.
Love it. All right. I think that's it that I had to talk about. Dale, did you have are you sweating?
All that yelling about the Bible, dude. That got me heated.
That's actually the fire of Satan that is being turned on you.
Is this the fire and brimstone they talk about?
That's it.
I could see why fucking ministers slap the pulpit. Like, you think it's boring shit, but then once you start talking about it, there's like fucking sodomy, and then there's like dudes marrying their sisters, and then like tricking pharaohs into giving them silver. I'm back into it. I'm only 2 books in and I've got all this stuff. Yeah, I don't think there's a bunch of other stuff that happened, but we don't really need to talk about. We talked about everything super important. I was kind of avoiding it because I would hate to say something dumb and sound insensitive, but I feel like everybody's going to be like, why didn't they talk about the Indian residential school thing in Kamloops? Which, if you haven't heard, they found 215
children's bodies.
Yeah, skeletal remains of children's bodies underneath the grounds of the Kamloops residential schools, and it's fucking terrible and it's disgusting, and I just want to acknowledge it because it's fucking we can't have that shit.
It is, and I feel like Indigenous people have been telling us for a long time how fucking awful residential schools, which were basically like assimilation and re-education camps.
Yeah, like I was like, one of my things was, it's like the name residential schools isn't horrific enough to explain what happened, because like there's a lot of people who don't realize how fucking terrible the whole thing was, and I think one of the problems is the name. Like, they should call them re-education internment camps, because one thing people don't know is they don't really realize that this was against pretty much every First Nations person's will. Like, they just swooped in. They came in and they took their children and they took them away and they sent them off to school with the intentions of basically, I don't know, making them more white in their activities and education. Like, what they wanted to do was they wanted to make the First Nations people blend into society easier. And I've heard people claim that they had positive intentions with that, but that's not good enough anymore. And basically it all turned to shit, and I don't know. Yeah, like, this is why I didn't want to get into it, because I probably said something that offended somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not educated enough on the matter to speak to it. There are a lot of people out there, but like, it is a black spot on Canada's history, one of many. And it turns out that to make North America really beneficial for white people, some indigenous people were mistreated as a result
severely.
of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was sarcasm, because there's a wide body of evidence that we came here, stole the land from the people, treated them like shit, murdered children, murdered entire populations of indigenous people. And for whatever reason, the belief in Canada has always been that we were somehow different from the colonizers in the United States. And we're not. We have the same fucking bullshit. And residential schools were something that existed in very recent history. So,
I think the last one's close. Like, they didn't run the same way, but they're like, we're talking like our lifetimes was when the last one's closed. And the horrificness happened like 50s to 70s was, I'm guessing, when all the bad shit went down. So that's way too recent for the level of unknowing that we as a country have. Like, one of the things we need to do is just spread the knowledge of how fucking terrible they were. So, like, I've just heard people talking about it and they're like, how did these people not know where their kids were and stuff? It's like, well, that's the point. They were taken without permission, and then they just like wouldn't give them anything back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So sorry to end on a downer, but we all really need to kind of educate. Like, we got to educate ourselves on what happened and stuff. And I'll put some, I think past guest Wesley put on, because he works in this field. He put on a website that people could go, and there's like a couple documentaries you can watch to learn more about it. So I'll put those in the show notes.
He'll put them in the show notes. Please, we encourage you to check them out. I will check it out myself, because I don't really fucking understand anything about this. Let the record show that Outrage Factory is firmly against dead Indigenous children.
We don't condone it. And we think people, like, they should hold someone responsible, because, like, sadly, I think this is just another mark on the Catholic Church, or the church who was running them. I'm not sure if it was the Catholic one.
It was the Catholic Church. And it was also, like, the Canadian government was fucking fully behind these. Like, this wasn't just like some offshoot Catholic church doing this on their own. This is this was with the full approval of the Canadian government. And it's something that persists in the Catholic Church and a lot of churches, is that we're going to bring Western white culture and religion to, it's like a lot of missionary work is based on that too, right? Like, we're going to convert people to our way of life, and just fuck off. Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. Catholic Church, fuck off. Your book sucks too. I'm probably not going to be able to get all the way through it.
Yeah. Religion, 0 out of 5 stars. Book, 2 out of 5. I like the part with the 10.
Do not recommend.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in this week to this episode of Outrage Factory. I, of course, have been your co-host, Derek Bolin. You can follow me on Twitter at Herder.
I've been your other co-host at Dale Fuck.
That is your name.
Other co-host, Dale DeRuiter, at Super DaleBot. If you want to give us any feedback, get your mug on the show, or, even educate us about what's actually happened, hit us up at outragefactpod@gmail.com.
Wherever you get your podcast, please rate, review, subscribe, and tell your friends about us.
Tell your friends.
If you want to preemptively contribute to my I have been interned by the Chinese government, my Freedom Fund, you can head on over to Patreon and donate to us there. And is that it?
I'm pretty sure that's it. We're over an hour. I think we got a tight hour in the bag.
Tight.
I kind of ruined. At the end of the show, can't really come back from that, so we should probably just end it.
We also 40 minutes of that hour was you talking about the Bible. So,
hey, this could just be where we go next. It could just be Bible talk with Dale.
Bible talk with Dale. Until next week.
Stay angry.
Stay bobbly.